guys, if you're new here, my name is Sam and I make videos about makeup, chronic illness, and whatever I want. And today I would like to teach you a little bit about hypothyroidism. Besides it being a horrific hot spell and making me feel like a zombie, there's another reason I've kind of been feeling under the weather and disappeared for a couple of weeks. My body has been recovering from illness for a while, and I do have long illness, but it was definitely exacerbated by my thyroid acting up. I've had hypothyroidism since 2008 or 2009. I'm forgetting the exact date, but it has been a while. So this wasn't a new finding from my doctor. Like, it was just the medication wasn't working again, which kind of new news, but not so much. I'll get more into my specifics with this illness after I tell you what is a thyroid and what does it even do and what's hypothyroidism. So your thyroid is this little butterfly-shaped thing that sits like right here in the little indent in your throat, if you can see. It's almost like the body of the butterfly would be here and the wings would wrap around your larynx or your voice box. What the thyroid does is it works your metabolism, basically. So it tells your body how to take energy from food and give it to your cells. The thyroid produces two thyroid hormones, T4 and T3. I don't know why I did it in that order, T3, T4. You get the point. And those two hormones tell your cells how much energy to use from the food to do their little tasks. Some of those tasks include regulating your heart rate, regulating your body temperature, etc. Very important jobs. When it's working correctly and everything's doing its job, the amount of T3 and T4 is controlled by the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is in the middle of your skull, underneath your brain. It has a little wire that hangs off of it, and it helps regulate these hormones. When the gland senses too much of either thyroid hormone, T3 or T4, it uses its thyroid stimulating hormone, or TSH, to adjust things, and it sends it right to the thyroid to balance those things out. When your thyroid hormones are too high or too low, your body is just not functioning correctly. So hypothyroidism means that things are functioning slow. Hypo means low, hyper means high. So hyperthyroidism is the opposite. We're not going to get into that in that video because I don't know much about it, besides it kind of does the opposite of what mine does. So what are the causes of hypothyroidism? There are primary causes and secondary causes. Primary is the most common, and it's a condition that causes your body to attack the thyroid and produce low levels of thyroid hormone. Secondary causes are something that cause the pituitary gland to not function properly, and it cannot send the TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, to balance out the T3 and T4 thyroid hormones. It's always been assumed that I have a secondary cause, which is quite rare. But why we have come to this conclusion is I developed hypothyroidism after a moderate head injury. My doctor was convinced that it damaged my pituitary gland. Hypothyroidism does not run in my family. There's no genetic component there. But the other illnesses I have could also be caused by a non-fully functioning pituitary gland, like the POTS, etc. So they have always leaned towards that in my specific situation. Primary causes are the most common, and that would be in the form of Hashimoto's disease. This disease is hereditary and causes the body to attack the thyroid. It's an autoimmune condition. Other primary causes include inflammation of the thyroid from a virus or infection, treatment of hyperthyroidism, radiation or surgical removal of the thyroid can cause it to go from overactive to underactive. Iodine deficiency. Your thyroid uses iodine to produce T3 and T4, and hereditary conditions. So what are the symptoms? They're not fun. These usually develop slowly over time, sometimes over many years. And they include fatigue, numbness and tingling in your hands, constipation, weight gain, soreness throughout the body, including muscle pain and muscle weakness, high cholesterol, depression, unable to tolerate the cold, dry, coarse skin and hair, decreased sexual interest, frequent and heavy periods, physical changes in your face such as drooping eyelids or puffiness, voice becoming lower and hoarser, and brain fog. I've been incredibly fatigued lately. Like, I was sleeping 16 hours a day. I was very weak, and I just assumed it was part of long illness and didn't really think much of it. I was due for my regular physical, so, you know, we ran all the blood work, and I was going to go back for another appointment to discuss long illness, but then the thyroid test came back that mine was not functioning properly. That explained the leg weakness to the point that I was falling and the lower back pain. I guess hypothyroidism can cause muscle weakness, especially in the thighs, and that was the issue I was having. Now that I've been on an increased dose for about 2 weeks now, I've noticed some pretty large improvements in those issues. Obviously, I still have my baseline for my other illnesses, but it isn't worsened. I unfortunately also had a bunch of hair loss, but because that was also a symptom of the illness that I had, I didn't really think about it being my thyroid. It's kind of wild how many things went hand in hand, so I kind of didn't think about one aspect of it because there was something else happening at the same time. Diagnosis, blood work. If you have any of these symptoms, you just go into your doctor, and I believe as part of a normal physical that they just run your thyroid panel. Going for my regular physical, like I said, is how I figured out that my numbers were off. I will say this was the first time I had the muscle weakness symptoms, so now I know to look out for that in the future. Treatment, medication. We did raise my medication, but my doctor pointed out that he has many patients who respond significantly better to the name brand. I'm on generic. And you have to get approval through your insurance for name brand in most cases. Mine does cover it as long as I do it through mail order, which I will be doing because he thinks it will just work better for me. It seems like every few years the number just climbs up until it becomes dangerous, and then I have to adjust it again, and it's just like repeat every like 2 to 3 years. I have also done my own research and seen a lot of people say that being on the name brand is just significantly better. There's something about the generic that it does not just metabolize correctly in certain bodies. Now, it is perfectly safe. It isn't dangerous. There are just certain metabolisms who just don't agree with it. Hypothyroidism can be incredibly serious if left untreated. It can be life-threatening. If you don't seek treatment, some severe symptoms are developing severe mental health problems, trouble breathing, unable to maintain your body temperature, heart problems, developing a goiter or the enlargement and swelling of your thyroid, and myxedema, coma, which is where all of your organs start to slow down, and it is usually fatal. Medication does need to be continued for the rest of your life. There's no cure. That's just how it is. So it's important to have it regularly monitored if you find out you do have a thyroid condition. You cannot prevent hypothyroidism. You can only catch it early so it doesn't become severe like those other symptoms that I listed. It isn't a fun illness by any means. I am glad we did my physical and found what we did. I wish I would have went in a little sooner, but again, I didn't realize these unique symptoms weren't from something else, so I didn't rush matters because I didn't know that's what I was dealing with. I have learned a valuable lesson. I hope you learned something from this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.